we find a vast majority of the time, once people come out, whether it be, to see one thing or the other for a giveaway night or a fun theme night, once they're there for the first time, they see the hockey. It's a very fast-paced, physical sport. There's very few stoppages. People just get bought into it, and then they just keep coming back.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Discover Virginia podcast. I'm Joseph Trahan, your host for the #1 video podcast in Virginia, where we explore the rich history, vibrant culture, and iconic businesses that make our Commonwealth truly special and worth talking about. So get ready as together we discover Virginia. Today, we've got an absolutely epic episode lined up for you. We're diving into the world of hockey, but not just any hockey. We're talking about the Norfolk Admirals. And with only a few weeks away to the next season, we are joined by Marco Myers, the Senior Director of Entertainment and Fan Experience. And we're going to get into all the details about what makes going to an Admirals game such an awesome experience. Marco, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. Good morning. I'm fired up to be here and get started.
Absolutely. And Marco, obviously, you are not the only member of the team technically, but it feels like we've got the whole team spirit here with you today. So we're excited to dive in.
I appreciate it.
So would love to get started on the history of the team. Can you give us a quick rundown on the history of the Norfolk Admirals and where the name came about?
Yeah, certainly give you a quick rundown because there's a lot of history. The team started in 1989, the East Coast Hockey League. Couldn't necessarily tell you where the name came about. That's original idea from somewhere. But right off the bat, the team had massive success. Before the team was even in operation, they did a scrimmage, if you will. I'm not sure if it was in Hampton or in Norfolk prior to the team's existence, just to see if it would work. And The game sold out. So the next season, the ECHL had the Admirals start up shop. The first 10 years, they won 3 championships, a lot of success and excitement. In 2012, we had one of the best amateur hockey league seasons in history, professional amateur hockey seasons. We won 28 consecutive games, the league championship that year. Things tailed off a little bit after that. I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about that and kind of where I come into play and making things a little bit more than just the hockey game. But we find ourselves here. It's our 35th anniversary. The team just made the playoffs last year for the first time in several seasons.
Woo! We're ready.
Yeah,
we're ready to
fire.
go.
We're locked in.
Absolutely, Marco. And just a friendly reminder to our guests here, the reason why we have Marco is because Salty the dog can't speak. So Marco is going to be speaking on behalf of the team, Salty the dog, and on your behalf as the fans of what you can expect in the 2024 into 2025 season. All right. So 1989, take us back. How has the venues and the game experiences changed through the years? Because I know, with the .com boom and modern technology and cameras and also a recipe for a winning team, it can change the dynamic of the community and the hockey league itself. You guys are minor league, correct?
Right.
What exactly does that entail, and how have you changed over the years into what is now 2024?
Yeah, so you pointed out we are in the minor leagues. We're considered what's AA hockey, the East Coast Hockey League.
Nothing wrong with that, by the way. Nothing wrong with minor.
Not.
I mean, you're still in the league. Yeah.
Hey, so the hockey team's job is to develop, draft picks for our affiliate. Right now, it's the Winnipeg Jets to hopefully play in the NHL one day. What our job is for the community is to provide family, affordable, fun entertainment.
Yeah.
So that's essentially it right there.
I love it. Now, as the Senior Director of Entertainment and Fan Experience, your sole responsibility is to make sure every game is unforgettable. 1, that's a lot of pressure. 2, what can fans expect this season? Are there any new experiences or events that are going to shake things up for the crowd?
Yep, so I'm going to keep a couple of those secret because opening night hasn't hit just
Absolutely.
yet.
Follow Norfolk Admirals online if you want to get those up to date.
But
what can we
I can tell you,
today?
we like to get the audience involved in the game, whether it's being on the Jumbotron, tossing some fun giveaways at you. We are, which is already publicly announced, we're introducing a dance team this year, a hype squad, which is very exciting. That'll be very fun. We have some new upgrades for our player entrance. Something that we're going to do very cool with lights that I'm not going to talk about just yet. That's going to be a big secret fans will see on opening night. And going back to your previous question a little bit, because I'm not sure I got to all of it. Like I mentioned, the team was so successful right out of the gates when it first started.
Yeah.
I think it was a blessing and a curse. It got people bought into the Admirals, and a lot of people even today know who we are, obviously. But with so much success, it seems like the team on the business side maybe didn't invest as much into the community or what they needed to do to be sustainable. Should there ever be a time when the hockey team isn't one of the best in the league? And when that period eventually hit, we definitely struggled for a while with attendance. When you focus hockey all the time, especially in the South, if people aren't into hockey and the team's not very good, they're not going to want to go. So the goal of my job, like you said, is to make every game fun for everyone that comes out, whether the team wins or loses. We find a vast majority of the time, once people come out, whether it be to see one thing or the other for a giveaway night or a fun theme night, once they're there for the first time, they see the hockey. It's a very fast-paced, physical sport. There's very few stoppages. People just get bought into it, and then they just keep coming back.
Absolutely. And I appreciate you mentioning the history. And then, of course, it's important to always remember our history, because if we don't, we'll just likely to repeat the past again, right?
Absolutely.
And I know you entered the scene back in 2018 after graduating from ODU. Shout out to our Monarchs out there.
Here we go.
Do not follow ODU Barstool Sports. That's a bad influence. Follow Norfolk Admirals, and for good, safe fun. Okay, so how do you keep reinvesting in the loyal fan base? Like, what does it look like to inspire the community, regardless of like if they're winning or losing?
Yeah, I think for me, it's continually sharpening the sword. And entertainment's one of those objective things. People always have an opinion about the song you're doing or one thing one way or the other. So my job is to not be too caught up inside my own head of what my opinions are about music or what people like or what people don't like. It's really just, listening to the fans, gauging their reaction, trying to provide as many fun things as possible for them to just enjoy the night, and hopefully the hockey catches up.
Yeah, absolutely. You cannot play "We Will Rock You" on repeat. I mean, because that's, you got to keep shaking things up. You can only kiss so many people on the kiss cam before you got to shake things up.
Exactly.
Yeah. So with each new season, it comes new challenges, right? You got new players, you got a dance team, you got people showing up unannounced trying to do interviews with Salty the dog. What's the biggest challenge the Admirals have faced in recent seasons, and how did the team manage to overcome it? And I know you've only been here a few years, but I know you started, and there's been some leadership changes since then. Do you mind kind of highlighting some of those challenges that occurred through the past couple years?
Yeah, and first I'll say our biggest challenge is to set a new standard for people to be excited about what's happening now.
Yeah.
I mentioned we had one of the best, minor league hockey seasons in history in 2012. After that, things weren't so great on the ice, and so whenever you're trying to do new promotions, make new exciting things happen to bring new people in, you hear a lot about, oh, well, that wasn't how it was done back in the day, or I wish this would come back, I wish that would come back. And I'm happy to say, because this is my 6th season I'm going into now, last year the team was great. The fan experience was incredible. Last year was my 2nd full season as director of entertainment, so the first year kind of got my feet wet. Want to get some things straight with like your basic lighting, timing, audio issues. This year we're starting to add the bells and whistles. So that's very fun and exciting. Some of the challenges that have come across the last couple of years, too, Patrick Cavanaugh, who's a local entrepreneur, he owns Chill Ponds in Chesapeake. He did play for the team actually back in the 90s. He acquired the team in the summer of 2019, I'd like to say. I was an intern at that time. Some funky stuff happened with the former ownership when they closed shop down and let some staffing go. So we went from a team of maybe 15 or 16 folks to about 4 or 5. And that really took some time to build back up.
That's like a reset button. They hit the reset button. Yeah, new management and everything kind of started from ground zero.
And that happened in the middle of the season too, and that wasn't publicly announced. So you find yourself, instead of planning and doing all this fun stuff, you're almost trying to bail water out of what felt like a sinking ship at the time.
Yeah.
And as we got our feet underneath of us, brought in some really great staff. Things just got bigger and better, and now, here we are today. The team just made the playoffs. Fans are coming back. Last season, we were 2nd in the ECHL in overall attendance growth. We almost had 1,000 additional fans on average per game attend last season.
Incredible.
And attendance has been up 30% year over year the last 2 years.
Absolutely. And that's because of ice cold beer, nice hot pretzels, and just a really fun experience. Marco, what's been the most rewarding part of being in the Norfolk Admirals team as their sports and entertainment director?
Yeah, so for me, it's a little bit personal because I am from the area. We often say that fans don't make the best employees, and that's probably something we can talk about later. But I did grow up a fan of the team, so I had a lot of personal pride for it. I had experiences as a child that now it's very rewarding for me to be able to give those experiences to other kids. You know, we
Right.
do youth hockey scrimmages during intermission, and very few sports can have youth athletes come out onto the field in the middle of the game or at intermission and participate. So that's super fun. There's times now I can sort of see kids that remind me of me, and they're all excited. And I remember the memories I have from being 10, 11, 12 years old, and it's really cool to almost feel like you're making that happen for kids right now.
Yeah, that's incredible. So growing up, going to the Admirals, seeing that next torch being passed to you, now making those fan experiences happen yet again for the next generation. Love it, Marco. Love it. So when it comes to community, I mean, the fan experience and the feedback kind of gauges the conversations, right? May not every decision, but the conversations. And we polled our Facebook community of over 100,000 loyal fans of the Virginia Beach area, almost too loyal to some extent. Shout out to our Facebook friends. But they had some great questions. I wanted to run one by you if that's okay. Kind of encapsulates a lot of the spirit of the transitioning that's happened, especially within the new endorsement of the Winnipeg Jets. So after a great run last year, what are the hopes for the upcoming season? And they're curious how they feel about the affiliation with the National Hockey League's Winnipeg Jets, and would they like to hop back into the AHL at some point?
Yeah, there's some loaded questions in there. So first off, we're super happy with the Winnipeg Jets. They've been great. They've drafted very well. And typically our job is to develop some of their draft picks. So just last year we had a guy, his name was Thomas Milic. He only played maybe a third of the season with us, went up to the AHL, had a great year. He actually helped turn that team around, going from a losing team to making the playoffs.
Yeah.
And he's probably going to be in the NHL in the next couple of years. And it's really exciting to see some of those guys come through scope and play on our ice and, you know, go on to bigger and better levels of the game. The American Hockey League thing is a tough question, to be honest with you. So
Sure.
Initially, the Admirals were in the ECHL. They're one of the original franchises. I want to say in 2001, just because the team was doing very well on and off the ice on the business side.
Right.
We got pulled up into the American Hockey League, which was expanding. That league is right below the NHL. So you got, you know, your first, second round draft picks. It'd be really cool to see some older NHL players. Maybe they were injured or on therapy, and they would come down for a couple games. So you got to see a couple legends at scope from time to time. And then I want to say in 2012, 2013, the team was actually sold and moved to San Diego. So big misconception here is a lot of people think the Admirals were knocked down a league for whatever reason or were punished or what have you. The Norfolk Admirals actually left the area then. Yeah,
Wow.
I think it might have been a couple years later. I think it might have been 2014, 2015. But they left the area and became the San Diego Gulls. The former Admirals owner who was still here, who helped bring the team to the city, didn't want there not to be pro hockey in Norfolk.
Right.
So he was able to get an ECHL team. I forget exactly where they were from. I think somewhere in Canada, to move their operation down here. At that time, we were with the Edmonton Oilers. So the team that came in here and is currently the Norfolk Admirals is not the same one that was in the AHL. So we're going to do the best we can. You know, the goal is to win, obviously. I'm not going to say never on going back to the American Hockey League, but it's certainly going to take a few years of being good on the ice and filling the stands, and we're trending in that direction. So we'll see if that happens.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, I mean, it is a sports team where it doesn't matter what the name is, right? It matters how you perform and the engagement that you get from the fans and that experience, like you said, way back when, where you were growing up and being a part of that.
Hey everyone, Michael here from behind the camera. Right now we're taking a quick break to acknowledge and thank our wonderful studio host, Atlantic Bay Mortgage Group. When it comes to getting information and guidance on financing your next home purchase, we recommend talking with Atlantic Bay. They are one of the original lending institutions in our home city of Virginia Beach, and have a long resume of getting the job done well and making your home buying experience more enjoyable. So, if you're looking to experience Virginia full-time, consider checking them out today at www.atlanticbay.com. Disclosure: loan programs may change at any time with or without notice. Information deemed reliable but not guaranteed. All loans subject to income verification, credit approval, and property appraisal. Not a commitment to lend. Atlantic Bay Mortgage Group, LLC, NMLS number 72043, NMLSconsumeraccess.org is an equal housing lender. And now, back to today's show.
I want to talk about what fans can expect this year. Say they're looking to buy some tickets or maybe some box seats. What are some of the types of experiences guests can go ahead and buy in right now to go ahead and prepare for the upcoming season? And what can they expect when it comes to the different types of merchandise or the different types of food and snacks that they can partake in while they're participating in the fan experience at the games?
Yeah, so for sure. So we try to make each and every game fun. We have 36 home games. Opening night is coming up on October 18th. We did just release a promotional schedule, if you will, with some fun theme nights. You know, every year we do like a teddy bear toss, which is essentially a toy drive. We encourage fans to bring a new or gently used stuffed animal. When the Admirals score their first goal that night, everyone throws the bears onto the ice.
Really? They just chunk them down there?
They just chuck them. It's a huge visual spectacle. It's usually a 10 to 15-minute delay in the game, and we go out there and pick them up and donate them. It's always a couple thousand. That's a big one that always sticks out to me.
I love it. Hold off on the Zamboni. There's teddy bears on the ice.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, we have hockey happy hours. That's going to take place on Wednesdays and Sundays this year. So folks, just go to our website, take a look at our schedule, maybe see a cool giveaway, a hat, something they'd like to maybe get their hands on, something fun they'd like to do. And then once they come out to the game, it's up to us to keep the vibes high, play good music. It sounds kind of boring, but the other side of fan experience outside of just, rock and roll and, T-shirt toss, it's eliminating those friction points. And, the Admirals don't own or operate Norfolk Scope, so we work with the city of Norfolk to maintain the building. The security folks you interact with when you go to a game or an event, that's a third party.
Yeah.
The food and beverage folks are a third party. Parking in the garage is a third party. And those guys do a solid job, but it's definitely up to us to make sure we're communicating. We're eliminating friction points because if people have a bad time parking, takes forever to get inside, concession lines are long, and then we come out there for happy fun time, they're gonna be less receptive to it, maybe a bit grumpy. So that's a big part of my job too. When you come out, it's a stress-free night of fun. Doesn't matter if you're trying to have a date night, meet up with some buddies from college, bring your kids out to a game. The games are really for anyone that wants to have a good time. I mean, who really cares if you like hockey or not? If you want to come have a good time with some folks and a good vibes environment for 2 to 3 hours, maybe catch a little hockey on the side, you'll probably fall in love with it. Yeah. But the games are just a great place to be. And Admirals hockey games at Scope at one point were like the spot to be in Norfolk on a Friday or Saturday night, and it's slowly starting to come back to that again.
Yeah, I love it. And especially too, like just the amount of touch points I think you mentioned, and I'll veer off on the marketing path here, being a marketer myself, like those touch points are so important too. And I want to highlight for our listeners here who may be like, okay, what does it look like to get there? What does it look like to park, or to, what type of pricing can I expect? Because it costs more to live, work, and play in the area. So, Mark, would you mind highlighting, if you don't mind, maybe the cool and unique opportunities Norfolk has created as far as the city goes for transportation, and then also maybe if someone's bringing some cash or looking to maybe get a jersey or some food for a family of 4, what type of budget do they need to allocate for that experience?
Yeah, for sure. So it's not public yet, but we're creating a Know Before You Go page for the website. It's going to be a game day guide, A through Z, a lot of those things you just mentioned.
Love it. That's incredible.
The city is all about getting people downtown and taking part in the events. So we're trying to work out a deal with HRT right now, similar to how Norfolk Tides fans can ride the tram for free down to the games.
It's free all the way down there and all the way back.
Yep. So we're in the midst of that right now. I'm pretty sure that's going to happen. And then as far as merchandise and fun stuff like that, we do have a store that's at the arena. There is a store online, and it really depends on what you're looking for. The cool thing about some of our merchandise and apparel, especially with the authentics, is some of the rarity of it.
Yeah.
I tell folks a lot, like with our game jerseys that the team actually wears. You got big name guys in the NHL who they might wear a different jersey every period, so the team can say, "Oh, here's a game worn jersey," and sell it. At our level, the guys only get one of each color for the season.
Yeah.
So when you want to go out and buy a player's jersey at the end of the year, I mean, all the photos and things and videos you saw of that guy, he was in that jersey. There's a lot of different things we have too. We're putting a lot more into youth products and merchandise because we know the kids want to come out and grab fun noisemakers or things like that. So we haven't unveiled all of our merch just yet for the upcoming season, but we've certainly added some new and fun items.
That's awesome, and I appreciate you alluding to that as well, because Norfolk is a highly densely populated city that it needs to, in a lot of ways, leverage more of those public transportation routes. Being a fan experience myself and just trying to cross the street to the Scope on game day is insane. I mean, you got flogs and flogs of people, and just having those options is incredible to increase those touch points. Now, what can we expect? I know you mentioned the Admirals dance team, which is a new addition, as well as the team itself that's going to be on the ice. Do they like sharpen their own like ice skates? Like how does that work? Like, can you give us an idea on the teams and the dynamics that you're expecting for the upcoming season?
Yeah, for sure. So we do have an equipment manager who will do a much better job at sharpening the blades than the players would.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, he's ex-military. We actually just got him in a couple weeks ago. He's going to be very buttoned up and make sure the guys are 100% ready to go.
So he knows exactly what it takes to those sharp blades. Yeah.
And as far as the makeup of the team themselves, so the roster is typically about 22 guys. We will normally sign roughly 15 players or so to our team on an ECHL contract.
Yeah.
And then with working through our affiliate with the Winnipeg Jets, they'll normally send us maybe up to 5 or 6 guys from the upper level that maybe need a bit more seasoning, or if they signed a lot of prospects, say at forward, and they have maybe too many, rather than those guys being scratched and not play at the upper level, they can come down here and have first line minutes and be a big part of the team. So we expect to get quite a few good caliber prospects to come down here, and the team should be great on the ice. Jeff Carr's back for his 3rd season, our head coach. Brent Clark is his assistant. He started with us last year, and we're fired up and ready to go. Training camp's coming up here.
I love it. And if you didn't catch those names again, those are the names you shout out when something goes wrong. You said Jeff, Mr. Carr, and who else?
I don't remember what I just said.
No, and all good fun, Marco. We appreciate you sharing that, and definitely there's a lot to expect. I did have a personal question. So, being a father of a daughter, I wanted to ask: is there anything in the hockey world as far as female players joining the team, or perhaps one day in the future having a women's division represented here at the Scope, or maybe an integration? I'm not sure how the hockey world works on that front.
Yeah, so women's hockey has grown exponentially in the last 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
A lot of areas in the country now have full youth leagues for women. That's something that's still sort of catching up here in Hampton Roads.
Okay.
And as far as women participating, at least at our level, I don't believe there's been any players. A couple of times you've had someone maybe participate in preseason.
Right.
The All-Star game now, the ECHL All-Star game, will feature a couple ladies from the Professional Women's Hockey League, which is also relatively new. That's sort of the female equivalent of the NHL.
Okay.
And that league is growing. I think they're about to add 5 or 6 teams just this year. But something that has caught on a bit more has been coaching and refereeing.
Sure.
I can't tell you off the top of my head who it is. It might be the San Jose Sharks of the NHL, but I do believe an NHL team just signed their first female assistant coach.
Oh, Shark Attack. All righty. Love it. Awesome. So, Marco, looking ahead, what's the vision for the team over the next few years? I know you mentioned the hassle with the ownership changing and then the team not being the same in 2012 as it was in 2014. And what's the future like? How can we plan and support our Norfolk Admirals going into the next 5-10 years as we're growing up and raising our kids and inviting our friends out to enjoy the games?
Yeah, and on a broad sense, the plan has really shifted from us to you. and that's really broad. But
Yeah. What does that mean?
Going back to how things unfolded the last 10 years, it was so much, we're so cool. We play ice hockey. Come see us. Why aren't you here? To what does the community want? What do they want to see? What do they want to bring their kids to? What kind of date nights do couples want to have? So again, it goes back to the feedback from the fans. We do want to reestablish ourselves as a pillar, as an event to go to in the community. Again, I do come from a little bit of a hockey background. I love ice hockey. You might think I don't from this interview, but quite frankly, my job is to make sure that hopefully this doesn't happen for a while, but we all know how sports goes. Inevitably, when the team maybe is in a period where they're not playing so well again, there are so many amazing things going on at the game that drive the attendance and drive the excitement that will hopefully help those guys play a bit better when the time comes. Maybe that lull will be a bit shorter. And when the good times are here and, we have those playoff runs and hopefully sniff a championship this year, people are ready. Going back years and talking about trying to get youth back involved at the games with the youth hockey scrimmages. We also do school spirit nights where elementary schools or middle schools can bring their choir out. A lot of that introduces new fans to the game.
Yeah.
And like I said, hopefully they come out and they get hooked on it. And then once you start seeing the team in the news a bit more or marketing and we're winning, people are already familiar and they're ready to jump on board and be a part of that.
Win or lose, it's an experience, right?
100%.
And it's for you, the fans out there, listening to this interview and going to the games, right?
100%.
Love it, love it. Awesome. Well, Marco, we are coming up to time here, sir. We're going to go through some rapid fire questions.
All
Are
right.
you ready?
I think so.
All righty. First question. Pre-game ritual you or the team can't go without?
I cannot. I'm not sure about the team. I know they play a little bit of soccer somewhere before they start the game.
Sure.
I can't go without doing a vocal warm-up because I'm also the in-arena host, and I have to. It sounds crummy, but I sing these 3 songs in the back closet of a room.
We're gonna have to hear this. We're gonna have to hear this. What's this warm up?
And if I don't do the songs, I feel like I can't go out there and do the thing properly. So I sort of hype myself up over there and get ready to go.
Absolutely, absolutely, love it. Favorite place to play during an away game? Now, do you go with? Have you been with the team before when they go out and play, or are you just
typically not? But I know the answer.
Behind the desk. Okay, what's the answer?
Yeah, definitely. I would say Toledo.
Toledo.
The Toledo Walleye operate as close to an NHL team as any team in our league.
Yeah.
They've been locked in for a long time. They have things that will blow you away from the fan experience side. Their team is always really, really good.
Yeah.
You see things that they're doing, and you're like, man, how are we in the same league?
Sounds like they have a flamethrower. Yeah.
Yeah, no, they do good. They're a source of inspiration for sure.
Love it. Marco, who has the best slap shot on the team in this season or maybe in recent seasons?
Oh, my goodness. I want to say last year we had a guy named Griffin Lunn who ended up being the MVP of the All-Star game. And I want to say he won the ECHL hardest shot competition.
How hard is a slap shot? Like what is a premium slap shot? What makes it stellar as opposed to average?
I think a premium slap shot is something that's over 90 miles an hour.
That's a slap shot right there. Who is the team's biggest prankster this season or in recent seasons?
Oh, my goodness. I'd really have to think about that one a little bit. It's funny because the guys they have that professional veil on until they get into the locker room, and then they're joking around with each other.
Yeah.
I couldn't really say for sure. I know someone that makes us chuckle quite a bit, and one of our all-star players is Stefan Timofeyev. He's a Russian guy. His English is coming along, but he has a funny personality too, and he's always good for a quick one-liner or something to just make you laugh. I gave him a post-game interview as the #1 star of the game, and talking about hockey and this and that, and he's happy Halloween, everybody, and just having a good time with it.
Yeah, love it. If you could bring any celebrity to an Admirals game, aside from Joe and Michael from the Discover Virginia podcast, who would it be and why?
Holy moly. And I put my work hat on for this one because it's like...
This is a loaded question. I mean, this could be the next endorsement, the next best player, but you can only, and only one celebrity.
Man, I think someone that a lot of people know would get hyped by, and this is just whoever pops to the top of my head, is like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Okay, gotcha.
I mean, everyone knows who that is.
Yeah.
He's going to do his thing. He's going to get people fired up. And I think that's just like off the top of my head, a larger than life personality who could make it out.
Absolutely.
I will say he didn't make it to the game himself, but through our broadcaster, we do have a connection to Bruce Buffer of the UFC, the main announcer.
Yeah.
And he did record a custom, Admirals fans, get ready. It's time for playoff hockey last year, and we ran that before the game. So that was pretty cool.
That's so cool. Love it. All right. Bit of a personal question here, Marco, but just out of curiosity, how tall are you?
I believe I'm 6 foot.
Okay, 6 foot. Gotcha. So according to our records here, Salty the dog is also 6 foot.
Yeah?
Do you have anything to comment about that?
Well, people have seen me and Salty in the same room before at the same time.
People, who are these people? Because last time I saw Salty, you weren't in the room, and then Salty left and you came back without Salty.
Yeah.
So what's going on there, Marco? Do you have a double life or something that we should know about?
Definitely not. I mean, Salty is a dog and I'm a human being, so that's definitely not. But
that makes sense, yeah, because the fur and yeah.
Hey, when fans when they come out to the game, you'll see Salty and I at the same time in the same place.
Okay, yeah. Well, for those of you out there, if you see Salty and Marco out in the community together, just take a snapshot and tag Discover Virginia Beach Podcast to Discover Virginia Podcast. Marco, this has been great. Where can guests go to learn more about you and everything the team have going on for the upcoming season with the Norfolk Admirals?
Yeah, certainly go to our website, norfolkadmirals.com. If you care to learn anything more about me, I'd say right now I post most of my professional Admiral stuff on the LinkedIn. So again, Marco Myers on LinkedIn, but our website and the team's Instagram at Norfolk Admirals is the place to go for news, exciting content, what's upcoming.
Love it. All right, Norfolk Admiral fans or soon-to-be fans, go check out the website. Go give Marco and Salty the dog an Instagram picture. Tag us at Discover Virginia Podcast, and we'll see you out on the ice. And until then, we'll see you on the next episode very soon.